Hi, my name is Angus Ho with Daddy Dat, a part of the Ash Management Group. I want to show how you can budget as a full-time engineer, make real estate investments, and live an exceptional family life as a dad. So, come along with me in this journey of wealth. What is the most important thing to me? Is it family or is it money? I'm running a finance channel, so maybe money? As the title alludes to, is actually family for me. Being in a marriage is so important to me because my partner is my number one supporter and financier to all my projects. Just remember, building trust with anyone is important. This includes you guys, my beloved YouTube community. The people that help me in building a portfolio, which includes the banks and my real estate agent. Therefore, building trust with my number one supporter is the most important, and if I can build trust with my partner, then I can build trust with anyone else. So let's get right into my first thing I do for a successful marriage. The first thing is to communicate clearly and often. Communicating is often the main reason for relationship breakdown. Expressing yourself clearly and openly can be hard sometimes, especially when it is subject to criticism. As an engineer and a dad, I have first-hand experience in this realm. How I handle confrontation sometimes is using silence. Some positive reasons to use silence is for processing, reflection, empathy, solitude, mediation, and enjoyment. Enjoyment is something I resemble much with. My wife and I used to stay connected over Skype, and it is sometimes hard to keep talking to each other forever. So we just mute each other and do our own thing. It's like the presence of each other is more important than needing to talk to each other. On the flip side, however, some negative effects of being silent could be a way of passive aggression. For example, one spouse may agree to visit the in-laws for the weekend, but then will sulk the entire time they're visiting. One of the reasons I use silence is safety, so that I don't incur wrath. Other reasons to use silence is avoidance, peace at all costs, busyness, power, and rumination. Now that I have shared with you how not to communicate with each other, on to how to communicate. In my experience, the things that have worked for me, my first tip in communicating clearly is to stay focused. In the midst of a heated argument, sometimes it's easy to throw in an ex-coworker you argued with at a Christmas dinner as an example to prove your point. While you're at it, throw in your relatives and your friends into the argument as well. Heck, why not? Then, if that doesn't work, sidetrack and derail the argument to the point that nothing gets solved. When this happens, I call this the kitchen sink argument. Everything gets thrown into the argument. Bring everything to the party. At some point, a stalemate needs to be called. Call a timeout. It will get to the point that an unstoppable person is trying to move an unmovable object.
This is what happens when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object.
When this happens, it's best to just live with it. In our relationship, I leave the water running while doing dishes, or she leaves straw wrappers and random paper everywhere in the house. To solve communication issues, I highly recommend Crucial Conversations. This book talks about going back to safety, how to communicate effectively with people who are important to you. I use Crucial Conversations a lot when running my side business that manages over $3 million in properties. Crucial conversations are important and just one of the ways that I can have a successful marriage. The second tip I have for a successful marriage is to plan some personal time. Previously, I talked about using silence as personal enjoyment. It's crucial that you do plan for some personal time. A person is most productive when enjoyed by themselves sometimes. For me, I find it hard to answer even my own emails when watching TV together with my wife. Therefore, I have something called me time. It's the time allocated to me to do whatever I want. Watch a movie while answering my emails. Play a game. Work on projects that are important to me. Even for me, even for me to use this time to budget and work hard to stay out of debt. I'm slightly extroverted, but I think even extroverts need some me time. Smash that like button if this is you. Can you imagine how draining it would be for introverts without their personal time? Another way to use personal time is to hang out with your friends. For me, it's guys' nights out. Sometimes it's just nice to say whatever you want to say to your friends who will judge you differently. It's nice to tell your story and hope that someone else will understand your point of view. Friends are fun where you get to drink beer with your buddies, go golfing, shoot paintball, play video games, and guy stuff together. Albeit, I have done some girl things like shopping, socializing, and the tamer things. But for me, I don't really get it as much. To me, if it's taking personal time, it's still personal time. Whatever it is, taking personal time is crucial to being successful and married. On to the third way. In my successful marriage, it's important that it's okay to disagree on topics and accept that this is going to be the way things are. One of the things that we still slightly disagree on is spending on things that are on sale. My wife loves to buy things that are on sale, and I, on the other hand, see things that are on sale, things that people don't want. Let me know what your thoughts are on sale items in the comment section down below. It's really just a friendly joke, but sometimes there is a point that you can't push the point any further and to leave it as a joke. Can you imagine what kind of unhealthy relationship I would be in if one partner has to agree with everything that the other says? Some signals that say that your relationship is unhealthy would be things like control, hostility, dishonesty, disrespect, intimidation, and violence. I don't want to get into each of these things. All I want to say is that to have a successful marriage, it's better to be okay that the both of you have differing opinions. One thing that I want to talk about and to differentiate is the question of, are you disagreeing because you truly believe that it's wrong, or are you being the devil's advocate for the sake of it? It is so easy to be the devil's advocate because you want to offer a different view. For many, it's so much easier to disagree for the sake of it and to provide the alternate opinion. In my opinion, however, doing this all the time is draining for both parties. To debate over something over and over again, I believe that's the definition of insanity. Therefore, I believe that it's better to agree and build each other up. Not only are the couples stronger as a team, but the couple see things more eye to eye. What I mean by eye to eye is that by one partner disagreeing on one thing, this automatically entitles your partner to disagree on another thing. However, if one partner agrees on one thing, then your partner will be entitled to agree on something else. For me, this is another key idea in our marriage that has worked and has become very successful. Ultimately, a successful relationship requires lots of sacrifices and lots of work. The fourth tip is building trust. Building trust is another important aspect of a successful marriage, especially when it comes to asking your partner to invest in the real estate and the stock market. No one wants to take on more risk and take on more headache than what is already in life. That's why building trust is so important. The best way to build trust is to say what you're going to do and do what you say you're going to do. What does this mean? First, tell your partner what your plan is. Then, make sure you execute and follow through with the plan. When you run into problems, and yes, there will be problems, remember that your partner isn't responsible for those problems coming up. Your partner didn't wish for the problem, and that your partner is your number one supporter. Therefore, make sure that you don't offload those problems onto them. Otherwise, you'll lose trust quicker than you can ever imagine. Now, I'm no marriage expert on trust. I'm married for about 3 years. So, instead of giving any marriage advice on trust, I'm just going to read you a list of ways to build trust and tell you what my thoughts are on them. Remember that this is coming from a mindset of someone who travels the world with his wife every year, lives in a 2,000 square feet house until finally he became a millionaire. Well, 95% plus of the way there. The first thing I do to build trust is to build it gradually. As a husband in a marriage, building trust takes forever. I waited 7 years before asking my wife to get married, so it takes a long time. The next way to build trust is to make decisions carefully. Only commit to things that you will do. It doesn't hurt to have no answer, to say, I'll think about it, or to just change the conversation and make sure your partner understands that you don't have the time to commit to their request this time. The last thing I would do to build trust in my marriage is to avoid self-promotion. I'm a YouTuber. That's the only thing I do is self-promotion. For example, one thing I do for self-promotion is the ASH method. The ASH method stands for Accumulate, Save, House. I explained the ASH method in this video, which is a repeatable method to reach your dream goals sooner, like that dream house that you've always wanted. Travel the world in style and guilt-free. Be financially independent and retire early. One more thing I do for self-promotion is asking you guys, smash that like button for those dislike trolls. However, self-promotion without giving anything back isn't good, and there has to be an off switch somewhere. For me, it's all about turning off, giving more back, and focusing on what matters to the family. The last thing that I do is learning to forgive. There is a phrase in the Bible where one of the apostles asked Jesus, Lord, how often shall my brother sin against me and I forgive him? As many as 7 times? Jesus said to him, I do not say to you 7 times, but 77 times. These words are so powerful to me. The statements hold true today in my marriage. Holding grudges is not healthy in a relationship. Speaking up to me is also not healthy in a relationship as well. Sometimes it's just easier to forgive. It requires a lot of patience and strength to forgive someone. But learning that forgiveness is more important in a marriage than in any other relationship is important. Now, forgiving someone who is a friend or someone you barely know is already pretty burdensome. Simply, one don't need to carry all those memories around with them every day. Not forgiving your partner for a successful marriage is twice as burdensome. I live with my partner every day, and carrying that memory around me in the entire house is simply too much work. To me, it's just easier to forgive even if it takes 77 times. Even if it takes 1,000,000 times, in my opinion, another reason why I find it important to forgive is the self-question of how many times am I going to say I'm sorry before I realize that's easier to just forgive and move on. My partner isn't really going anywhere. I hope these items that I've mentioned help solidify or even motivate relationship building. To me, by thinking the way I said I do has helped me stay married, but also to be at 95% plus of the way there to becoming a millionaire. Join me at the Daddy Dad Facebook group to talk about your finance questions. Ask the YouTube community your questions by commenting below. I'm not going to say that I have the secret formula and I'm not the wealthiest of all people. These are only my opinions, and these are the things that are important to me. If you like to hear more budgeting, engineering, or real estate tips, please leave a comment down below on what you want to hear. Smash that like button, subscribe button, and be sure to hit that notification bell so you'll be the first to know when I post new videos every week on Mondays and Thursdays. From the Ash Management Group, this is Daddy Dad saving you money.